I'm the rebel, totally going against the grain. I always want to do the extreme. I want to get as many people looking as possible. Tupac Shakur.
Yeah.
Today on Against the Grain, we have Dr. Mike Israetel joining us. I spent my time with phonics before we began this episode. I probably still partially sorry, but he gave me a lesson in Russian. So I feel smarter knowing that too. But Mike, thank you for joining us today. We wanted to chat with you about all things to do with Renaissance periodization. But first, can you give everyone like a background? What the hell made you go down to want to be a doctor of hypertrophy? Like, of all the things you could have picked to be a doctor about, you're a doctor and you're pretty much well known for hypertrophy and like really revolutionizing the understanding of the science involved in it.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, fellas. The short story is I was lying awake at night when I was 5 years old, and there was a voice in my head. I was like, you need to get a PhD in getting jacked. And I was like, who is this? And they're like, look, it's Satan. I'm just going to just write out and say it, Satan. And I was like, yes, you're darkness. And then here I am, but the long story is I started to lift weights in high school for wrestling because being weak in wrestling is kind of obviously stupid. And made me better at wrestling. But then I fell in love with lifting weights and I got away from wrestling, lifted weights through college, started powerlifting, competing in powerlifting. And I was a fucking nerd to begin with. I was like a fucking, like I just did homework all the time in high school. I loved it and have so many what you would call friends, but the books could be my friends, I thought. And then so I took my nerdiness and I was like, I know that science is like really good at telling us shit about the world and like how the world works. It turns out like my muscles are part of the world. So maybe if I look to science, I can get stronger. And that was accurate. And so I started studying strength and exercise science, sports kind of stuff in school. And I switched from powerlifting to bodybuilding at some point. My passion for training and all that stuff only grew. And then eventually I was a personal trainer. And then I, had a master's degree by then in strength and conditioning. And then I decided I need to learn more stuff. So I went and pursued my Ph.D. in sport physiology and performance at East Tennessee State University under Dr. Mike Stone.
Oh, you're close to me, baby. I love East Tennessee. Johnson City is beautiful.
Woo! There's that one song by that one country musician that references Johnson City, Tennessee, and I must have heard that shit 1,000 fucking times when I was there. Every fucking bar night, they play that song 8 times, and as soon as he says Johnson City, I don't know who the fuck it was. I'm not into that.
I don't either, but I can hear this. I can hear it.
Right?
Yeah, I hear it.
I don't think I fucked my sister enough times to listen to country music. I'm just kidding, fellas. You guys said this is all jokes are good.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. We love it.
Oh, yeah.
We're from the city of country music. We feel the same.
No, I don't. I love it. But
Jason loves country. He's the minority here.
Like,
but I also like rap. So, I like all my.
He also likes rap. And I'm like, what is this trash? I want to get a ski mask and an AK. I need to go do damage.
Trash too. It's just like anger bullshit.
At least my anger has heart.
Fuck, that's it. That's the whole podcast. Anyway,
Kevin Gates has heart when he's talking about fucking a chick from behind and grabbing her hair. That's heart. Come on, Jeff.
Wait, hold up. Is that in rap or in country?
Yeah, it's a rap. That's definitely not country.
I was like, damn, I never heard that country song. Unless it was a guy's sister, and then like, it makes sense. Hey man, I fucked my sister with love and tenderness. How fucking dare you, brother? In any case, I learned how to speak what we call derp-a-lerp. I'll tell you what, man, derp, derp, derp. And so that was great. And learned a lot of science and shit like that. Got a PhD and then started competing in bodybuilding for a time unsuccessfully, then successfully. My recent show, not so successfully, but shit happens. Yeah, shit happens. And I'm gonna fix it and get better. And it's been a fun ride. And then I became a professor. And then we started
cool.
during my PhD program, started Renaissance Periodization, a company to try to help people get in shape. Eventually, a lot of clients were asking us, like, hey, why do you do this instead of that? And so, fuck it, we wrote a book. Then we wrote another book. And then we realized during writing some of the books that, we can turn the instructions of how to make your own diet and how to make your own training program into an algorithm that a computer can understand and execute. And then we made apps. We have a diet app and a training app. And so robots coach clients for us. And to be honest, fellas, all I do is just count my money. And oftentimes I burn the money just because it's so much. It's meaningless at this point. And my butlers, there's so many of them. And I crash. I have like a Lamborghini situation where it's like bumper car Lamborghinis, And that's just what I do all day long. I don't even know anything about exercise anymore. I'm like, I'm like a rocker who's been rich for so long. You're like, hey, can you strum a guitar? He's like, what the fuck is a guitar? You're like, oh my god, how much heroin are you on right now? So that's me.
So you're enjoying retirement so well. The typical entrepreneurship small business owner who has a private jet and everything in between. It sounds like you're really living the life, my man. I'm jealous.
I get people ask me what kind of private jet I have, and to be honest, like looking at like what type of shit you have is like poor people do that. I don't read labels. I'm fucking so rich I don't need to do that shit. I have a different private jet everywhere I go. How's that? Bet you motherfuckers never met somebody that rich.
So I have a question. Do you think that your personality is what broke you through the industry?
Fuck no, clearly that's not fucking correct, because I'm awful. Like, oh my god, this guy's such a dick. What a fucking rich asshole. I just gotta have something to do with it. People, like, it's weird for me to talk about it because, like, you can only compliment yourself enough until you throw up in your mouth if you like have any kind of semblance of fucking humility. But apparently, like, I'm not the least funny person in the world, so people are like, the YouTube comments, they're like, "Oh, I like learning at RP YouTube, but also the comedy's great." And my comedy, I think some of the jokes I say are funny, and some are just fucking weird, where people are like, "Oh my god, dude, this guy's got fucking his demons have demons. What the hell is wrong with him?"
I will say that was one thing that stood out to me about your YouTube, even on just learning better understanding of hypertrophy, because, Jay and I, probably more me, I'm like the Lee Priest guy. I was 4 sets, 20 sets per body part. That's why I grew up in high school. Lee's the one who kind of got me into it. Every time a Flex magazine came out, I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this workout, because that's obvious what builds. Yeah, right. So it's been interesting seeing the evolution of science, and especially the training part. I think over the last 28 years I've been in bodybuilding, and I think Jay even can say that, like, we know enough about hormones now. We're starting to get these answers to fix these hard weight loss resistant cases. Jay and I do a lot of functional stuff. He even has a university for it. But the training,
I looked at Jay's shoulders. I could tell you this motherfucker knows about hormones. You feel
it's just the GH. Anyway, yeah, I'm on more than it right now than him. Give me about 3 weeks and I'll fill back out even more. But you have like that functional side, which was all this fire. And then now going into 2022, maybe 2023, training just blew up. Like, it just seemed like everyone was paying more attention to it. What do you think caused that to happen, where suddenly everybody started paying attention to the training side and shift? Like, the whole lens did a shift. If you remember, during COVID, it was your gut health, your butt health, and everything else in between. And then it moved over to, well, bro, you're training wrong, and this is why.
Yeah. So I think it's maybe 2 things are responsible for that. This is just total guesses, by the way, like everything I say. One is that fads come and go, and sometimes people really give a shit about something that's important for a few months, a few years, and sometimes people really give a shit about stuff that's just not important at all. So gut health, like, has its validity. And for a while, it was totally undervalued. People were like, "Fuck, what the fuck is your gut? You fucking pussy, shut up and lift." You're like, okay. Yep. And like, I'm shitting blood every day. I try to eat regular food, but I guess I'm fucking whatever. I was gonna say a couple other words, but
you're a fucking pussy is what you are.
Well, fellas, let's be honest. Back in the 90s and shit, we all used to use the F word and the G word, which meant the same thing. I just can't use them anymore, I guess. So I was going to insult myself that way. But, with all due support to the homosexual community. Anyhow, before I get canceled as fuck. So, then gut health went through this thing where it was like, I think, accurately perceived as an important variable to consider in the equation. And then it got overboard where it was like everything was fucking gut health. Like, oh, like your wife broke up with you and fucking left you and the kids don't know who the fuck their mom is anymore. Gut health. And you're like, wait, what? So shit, like, phases and fads come and go. And sometimes they're addressing important things that we were under addressing, and sometimes they go overboard, and then they usually float back down, and we sort of probably renormalize to addressing them maybe evenly, and maybe even back down to not addressing them enough. I think maybe training is going through one of those things right now, where it's like people get in, there's like kind of a few ends of that kind of diamond shaped spectrum there. One is like, just fucking live, brother, fucking overthinking it. The kind of people that say that are oftentimes like just people just like, I'll just straight up say it, you guys are politically incorrect podcast, just too fucking stupid to make sense of anything, like, just fucking lift, like, shut up, you don't even believe that, you fucking idiot, like, I'm not taking advice from you can't fucking barely read, right? And then there's other fucking total retard nerds, skinny pencil neck fucks who are like, hey, I found this PubMed study and it says that if you go to failure, you're gonna die. Like, shut up, fucking lift weights. And there's somewhere between those two is like, look, there is some shit that science says probably works better. And there's some shit that science says that actually corroborates what you feel in the gym. Like there's some new literature showing that like if you do a super deep ranges of motion, you stretch the fuck out of the muscle, and if it gets a really big pump, you're probably going to grow more than if it doesn't get a big stretch and a big pump. Like that's not like a surprise to anyone who's lifted weights and tried to actually use good technique. So I think there's a good set of synthesis of science and practice that you can get out of that. And luckily, there's a lot of people on the internet talking about it right now. But there are, of course, extremes where people are like, if you do a lat pull down like this versus if you do a lat pull down like this is all the growth, and this right here is just fucking no growth, like one little fist movement. You're like, dude, you're fucking literally delusional. Like you have mental illness if you think that's the case. And then there's other people like, just fucking move iron around. No fucking time for this bullshit. Like, all right. You're like, fucking Dorian did it. You're like, yes. Let's ask how Dorian's career ended. Like, I think he tore every single muscle in his body and had to retire because he was like a fucking mess. Like, yes, that's also correct. So there's some kind of middle ground. Hopefully we're in kind of that new, people are thinking about training, and some of us will settle into that middle ground of knowing that there's a lot of bro wisdom to get in the gym. Science can't answer all of our questions just yet. But also, like, if you're doing something that totally contradicts science and makes no sense to do in the bro gym, you're just being fucking egotistical. Like motherfuckers like leg press, like put 18 plates on that shit, wrap their fucking knees 18 times, like fucking trying to grow muscle. Like, motherfucker, what do you think the knee wraps are doing? They're preventing your muscles from feeling the load, pussy. Why don't you take them fucking knee wraps off, go down 3 or 4 or 16 more inches, and actually fucking hit your quads? You're like, but that means I can only leg press 4 plates. Like, yeah, because you have fucking little bitch legs and you need to get fucking bigger. And I'm sorry, science says that too. And sometimes fucking science is lame and for COVID fearing fucking nerds. And sometimes science is just true as fuck. And you got to just fucking bite the bullet and do the right shit. So how's that for a rant?
I love that. No, and before I get my question, I want to break it up for the guys to start asking as well as we start going down these wild rabbit holes. That was something I picked up from Joe Jeffrey recently because he's been handling my programming after Master Nationals.
You're very lucky to have him as a coach.
He's super good, dude. I was very lucky he wanted to take my challenge on of having a brittle bone disease because Jay and I have tried everything.
Pussy. I'm just kidding.
I know. I'm a terrible man. I'm a big ass pussy. Brittle bone disease, and I actually became bodybuilder. I'm just a fucking goddamn cunt. But anyway, I threw the C word out for you there, Mike. So I'll take that one.
Shit.
So
all right.
there we go, baby.
Good. I love it.
But was understanding that stretch and pausing there. I had never done that. And he's like, I bet it lowers your risk of injury. He goes, research shows that. And I was like, oh, and I was getting on the internet, was like, huh. And because this is why I always lament the coaches. You can only focus in some areas for so long before your brain taps out. And I think Jay and I can say that. Like with the functional stuff, there's only so much you're going to take on here before you just kind of forget what you know. And then that's where you go into another area, relearn it, like training, and go, oh, there's some new shit here, and da-da-da-da-da. But I really like the idea of understanding the newer science too. And you guys are doing a great job out there of really explaining it and changing an old bastard like myself's heart to want to try to train differently. You're so welcome. Before I polish that cock ears anymore, I wanted to ask, when you started Renaissance Periodization, how long and how many hours did you sweat and pour into that fucking thing before you could actually say, 1, I really like it, 2, I'm really proud, and 3, the money's worth the squeeze?
So like the education it took to be able to be credentialed, qualified, and understand enough about the world to offer people enough in a company that made them pay us money and made us able to help people get into better shape. High school, again, like no friends. Undergrad, master's program, a year in personal training without school, and then 3 more years in a PhD program. And then I've been a professor most of the time since then. And like, the professor thing they pay you for, everything else they don't. It's like arguably like 10 years of school after high school that you get actually, I think my education, and I had, like $120,000 of school debt after my PhD program. And it's like, okay, like that there's an amount for you, Jeff. That's how much. And a lot of my time was spent, especially in the PhD program, where the lab and our offices as students was in the kind of the dome, the mini dome in Johnson City, Tennessee. And that was where the gym was too. And that was where we trained athletes. And I just like stayed in the dome, and there's no fucking windows in there. So I just didn't see daylight for like fucking years at a time, basically. Got in there in the middle of the day when most people had left and stayed there till late at night doing work and research and all this other shit. and writing articles and books and really thinking about stuff, developing hypotheses and theories and things like that. And yeah, like I wasn't fucking Dr. Mike, you know, I wasn't famous. I didn't have like, right now I have like, actually, like I walk around with a stick that's explicitly, the stick is only for one purpose, is to beat the bitches off me. Fuck out of here, bitch. I know I'm famous and rich. Get out of here. Yeah, see? And they usually scram or crawl their way up the wall, wherever the fuck they came from. But back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Your boy wasn't like swimming in pussy and shit like that. No money, zero vaginas interested. Yeah, like years and years and years and years. So that's, you know, and eventually, so we start RP. The business was profitable from day one because we were just coaching people, and like your expenses are a computer and electricity and the Gmail account, which is free, and then your time. And then after that, we wrote some books. I spent, you know, at least a few days, like a week, in isolation writing the book. First book that we wrote, Renaissance Diet, and all the stuff I've produced ever since. I still do the same thing. So right now I'm podcasting out of my windowless office. It's in a basement in our house in Michigan. It has no windows. There is no art on the walls. There's nothing except a desk, a chair, and four walls, and that's it. And that's like, I think that kind of attitude is where a lot of value gets created. You guys, this is a fucking long shot. You guys know Dragon Ball Z at all, or did you actually get laid
Heard
in high
of it.
school?
Well, I get
Heard
laid
of
and
it.
know Dragon Ball Z because my
Whoa,
young
big
son
man.
Keegan, 12. I used to be an anime fan back then. In high school, I was big into Vampire Hunter D, Ninja Scroll, Akira, Ghost
Yeah, I
in the
fuck
Shell, the
women, so I
original.
don't know what any of that
Yeah,
shit means.
well,
Yeah,
in
never
high
heard of
school,
it.
in high school, I was still getting laid and watching anime and playing Dungeons and Dragons. But
Oh,
that's
you had it
no, dude.
all.
I was like
What
fucking
the fuck?
total
You
double
hacked the
whammy.
Matrix.
Yeah, dude, I hacked the Matrix. They felt bad for me because I was crippled. But anyway, so yes, I've heard about Dragon Ball Z long.
Yeah, so there's like you know, the hyperbolic time chamber. So for those people not in the know listening, there's like this Dragon Ball Z is basically like the Japanese version of Superman and all those, like Justice League, and Superman and Batman and stuff. I don't know. Batman does train. Superman seemingly doesn't train, right? Wonder Woman doesn't train. They don't train. But in Dragon Ball Z, all the characters are basically like as strong or stronger than our superheroes in the U.S. They're Japanese, but they train all the fucking time, and they didn't start out strong. They just like train. And there's a special room there and a special place where you go into the room, and the room is just you and training shit and a bed to sleep in and food to eat, and that's it. And you're in that room for a day on the outside world, but a year passes inside. And like when they introduced the room, the fighters were like, we want to go in there and train and come out totally transformed. And it was told to them, like, everyone who's ever gone in here has lost their minds and they couldn't stand it. They had to get out. And one of them was like, I'll take a shot at the title. And he came out completely transformed, fucked everyone in the ass. You know, I mean, fighting wise, not literally. I'm sure there are other versions of that anime that do that literal thing. But it was like, you know, it was just like this plain white room, and it actually had no walls. So it was infinitely stretched out in every direction. There was nothing there except for your effort. And if you can't hack it in a fucking plain white room where all you do is produce fucking valuable work, you're not likely to become as successful as if you need to be around people all the time, need reinforcement all the time, need lots of partying and friendship and shit like that. So a lot of value is produced like when you got nothing except you sit down and do this. It's almost that kind of essence is the same thing that like when you're getting ready for like a big ass set of hack squats. Like you throw your headphones in, you fucking put your belt on. And I tend to do something like I'll look around the gym. In my mind, like I'm scared because, you know, like you go hard enough and you're fucking scared before your work sets. Like, I don't know. I'm scared. Maybe you guys are fucking.
No, I get what you mean. Enough weights on there. No,
fucking testicles
one,
and shit.
two, Rob.
Yeah, right. But like, my mind starts to reach out and be like, oh, what about that person? Like, could they help me? Or I wonder, like, oh, should I go really hard? Or I start to like look around the room, and I always come to the same philosophical realization: there's nothing but you and your effort. Go. And like, if that's the huge realization I made a long time ago, that what you do in silence is how you create any semblance of greatness that you're ever going to create. So yeah, there's a lot of that, and still is like, oh, we still work on updates to the app. We're still working on other products, other digital stuff, other books. And it's just me in a fucking room all by myself. My wife exists somewhere, I think, in the house, but I haven't gotten laid in fucking years. Anyway, you fellas know how marriage is. Am I right?
I'm divorced.
Just kidding.
So...
and
yes, it was like that, but that's one of the reasons I'm not.
You know, dude, I really like this candidness that you said, because we live in a day where these people are offering all these courses, classes, everything to help these trainers just jump, jump, jump. And yeah, they're helpful, but everybody forgets like there is an essence to it of time and effort. And it's, you can only have so many mentors before having you had enough mentors that you should go try what you've learned on your own and fly your wings. Right.
100%.
I really appreciate that answer though. So thank you for, I'm going to turn it over to Robo real quick. Robo, you got something you want to throw his way? A little maybe rabbit hole we should go down with Dr. Mike since he's cool as fuck.
Yeah, I'm super curious. One of the things I watched that you put out was about Henry Cavill, however you say it, the Superman Witcher actor.
Beautiful man that I keep telling myself I'm straight, but I know it's a lie.
Yeah, if anyone on here actually knows him, get Mike an autograph picture of him shirtless. He would make it
a handshake, a sock that he wore, or even a sock he looked at. You know, anything at all, please.
I picked up those vibes for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
You mentioned a couple words, systemic fatigue, very briefly. I'd love for you to go into a little bit more about really how you see that manifest in clients and yourself. What are the warning signs and how do you address that when it comes up?
Totally. So there are a few different types of fatigue. We can say that there are, for simplicity's sake, two. One is local fatigue, like when you do bicep curls, your biceps get tired and then you can't do as many bicep curls in the next set. And that's like pretty straightforward. You rest for a minute or two and it comes back. Then if you do a lot of bicep curls, the fatigue takes a few days to come back, which is why you don't train biceps every hour, but you train biceps hard every few days or whatever. That fatigue is, has the same kind of dynamic of it onsets and then it takes time to go away. If you're really, really fatigued, you actually aren't strong enough to provide much of an overload anymore. So, imagine someone's like training their pecs hard on Monday and they come back on Tuesday and you're like, what are you training? They're fucking pecs, brother. You're going to blow them up again. And you're like, what? But aren't they tired? They're like, yeah. Fucking fatigue is for fucking losers, bro. And you're like, okay, so you're gonna lift big weights and get big pecs? Like, fuck that. I'm too weak to lift big weights now. I'm tired, man. I just lift the fucking small weights pathetically. You're like, do you think that accomplishes anything? And they're like, no, except for fucking grind, brother. It's all up here. It's all mental. What is it like? Gifted athletes are always like, winning is 99% mental. Like, shut the fuck up. If I was 7 feet tall, I'd say that shit too, motherfucker. I'm like 5'1" or whatever the fuck my real height is.
I'm still
it's fucking physical, bro. Say what?
I say I'm shorter than you. I pissed next to you at Masters Nationals. I'm quite shorter than you.
Are we talking about height? Or are we talking about?
Well, the dicks were shriveled up because we had enough diuretics in us. We definitely couldn't do anything.
Whoa. Show day. You know what I'm saying? But I was going to say two things real quick. One, on show day, nobody's looking big, but also in the tanning area, like the black-white difference in dick size is just like obvious at that point. Like I'm not saying I'm looking at motherfuckers' dicks in the tanning room, but I'm looking at everyone's dick in the tanning room. I'm not looking at mine because you know what I'm saying? I'm Jewish. I'm not packing. I'll just be straight up. In any case, so it's stupid to be fatigued locally because you're not strong enough and fresh enough to fucking do good hard workouts. If you have a premise that you don't need good hard workouts when you're recovered to grow, you're wrong on scientific grounds and you're just like on reasoning grounds. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any fucking sense. You know what I mean? Like, try that at work. Like you go to your regular fucking day job and whatever it is you do for work, you're so burnt out because you haven't slept at all. Your boss is like, your work sucks. And you're like, I know, man, but it's all about showing up. He's like, no, go home and take 2 days off and sleep. We only need you when you're fucking good at your job. And if your job is to grow a muscle, you need to recover the muscle, come back again and hit fucking great workouts. A little bit stronger, a little bit stronger over time. That's how you get Jason-sized shoulders there, right? So on the other hand, we think it's all local and we're making a little bit of a mistake because there's at least another type of fatigue. If you train your biceps really hard and your triceps and your pecs and your shoulders, a couple things happen. One, parts of your muscles break apart. And there's stuff that comes out of your muscles that leaks into the rest of your body through your bloodstream. And your body has a bunch of different mechanisms for sensing when that happens because it's trying to keep track of total body damage. It's trying to do that because we know science and shit now in like the last maybe fucking 100 years or 50 years, but we're all designed by evolution to know basically fucking nothing. And our bodies still have to run us. Like, you don't eat food because you know that eating food sustains you. You eat food because you become hungry. And if you're really taxing your body to the limit, your body doesn't make you tired and lazy and sleepy because you know it's good for recovery. It's because the evolutionary mechanisms are, they detect enough damage, they will impose the sensation of fatigue upon your brain. You're just like, I don't know what's up, man. I just fucking can't do this anymore. And you recede and you go and eat and sleep, and then you feel better. So that's one mechanism, at least. There's another mechanism where every time that you work out and train hard, you're activating your fight or flight part of your nervous system. It's called the sympathetic nervous system. And that is the part of your nervous system that fucking gets you going and gets you aggressive, heart rate elevated, etc. It doesn't promote recovery, it promotes performance. And if you train often enough, your body interprets that as like, we're like at war and we're getting fucked up all the time. So I'm going to keep this fight or flight system on. It's like putting the safety on your gun. Like if the zombies are still around, the safety's off. Like if even when I go to sleep, because there's zombies come up, like safety's off so I don't have to fuck with it. Keeping the safety off for that long, the sympathetic nervous system pulls resources in to make sure that you're ready to fucking go. And that drains the living fuck out of you. And you guys know, like if you stay awake at night for 3 nights straight, working super hard, worrying about stuff, you're in sympathetic overdrive and you're just like fucking big eyes. And people are like, dude, calm down. You're like, I fucking can't. That's not sustainable. That's another way systemic fatigue goes up. And that's reflected in hormonal levels. Your cortisol starts to rise and your testosterone relatively starts to fall. Now, I'm no scientist. I guess I am. I wouldn't have to be a scientist to figure out that like cortisol, a catabolic hormone, getting really high for a long time with testosterone, the anabolic hormone falling, is just not good practice. And then lastly, there's other ways this works, but another example is your nervous system, both the peripheral nervous system, everything after your spinal cord to actually move your body around, and your central nervous system, which is your brain and spinal cord, is responsible for executing all of the actions, including training really hard. And it gets tired of getting you amped and going all the time. Like you guys have probably experienced before, as you go through a training cycle, at first, like week one, you're psychotic. You're like, dude, I'm going to fucking rip these weights into pieces. Your brain is like ready to tell your muscles to contract. As you get more fatigued systemically, you might need to turn on gangster rap before you're set to get yourself going. Because by itself, your brain's like smoking a cigarette, like, what the fuck? You want me to do this again? Like we did this last week. We did this yesterday. What the fuck is wrong with you? Take a break. And then eventually, like, you got to like think of dark childhood memories to get your sets going. And then by then you're really fucked up. And then it's time for a deload. So the brain literally gets tired of telling your muscles to contract really hard and getting your emotions up to do it. And so all these various factors over the course of a training cycle, over weeks, they raise your level of systemic fatigue. And that fucks you up in a bunch of different ways. It prevents you from contracting your muscles hard. It makes your muscle cells more catabolic and less anabolic. It has all these other downstream effects. Your hormone levels start to tank into the wrong direction. And all of a sudden, you're really bad at the thing you're only trying to do in the gym, which is burn fat and build muscle. And the worst part is like fatigue can get high enough where that sympathetic overdrive gets crazy and then your sleep quality degrades. But that's really, really, really bad news because sleep is such a huge thing for recovery. You need recovery the most, and now you're not even sleeping well. That's a positive feedback loop to even more fatigue, kind of exponentially. So systemic fatigue can be measured or proxied by a variety of things. One of the most important ones in people that love to train is desire to train. Like if you don't feel like training for a whole week, it's time for a deload. Another cool thing about a mention of, and there's other ways to sense it. One is strength. If your strength is tanked on biceps, but your pecs are the strongest they've ever been, it's probably local bicep fatigue. Just take a light session next week for biceps, come back and you'll be golden. But if your strength is down on every fucking lift, and like you guys lifted basically your whole lives at this point, you know when it's fucking true. Like it's not like, I don't know, maybe I'm a straight, shut the fuck up. Like, hey, go lift the 110s. You're like, man, fuck that. Let's do the 90s. You're like, why 90s? Like, man, I can't fucking, the 110s, I'll do like a set of 3 at this point. Like, okay, so if you're really fucking weak and you don't even want to train anymore, and you know for a fact that you've been training hard as fuck for 6 or 8 weeks or whatever, what the fuck is it that we're doing here? And that's where, for me, I got a fucking big problem because I got this whole fuck where I can speculate as to where I get it from, but like, I will not be outworked ever. I'll fucking die before that shit happens. To me personally. And outworked not by other people, but my own standard of what a lot of work is. And I will like do cognitive dissonance and mental gymnastics to try to keep going through high systemic fatigue because I don't want to be a fucking pussy in my own eyes. And at some point I realized, like, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever done. And the intelligent thing, the brave thing, the smart thing, the wise thing, the Yoda shit. Like, Yoda can defeat everyone in a fucking sword fight, right? Because he doesn't have an ego. He just knows exactly where to put the sword to fuck you up. He's not like, oh, like, you know, Anakin Skywalker smashing down because he's all fucking full of rage, and Yoda just parries that shit and fucking cuts him in half, right? You want to be Yoda, and sometimes that means you got to move the fuck back. And the hardcore thing is to take a week of easy training and eat a ton of food and get a ton of sleep. And that's where edible gummies come in, because your boy's on THC right now. Just kidding. I'm not a fucking drug addict like Jeff, who literally smoked a bowl when we started this episode.
I just smoked another one, dude. I'm so enthralled by you.
Do you smoke before you train? Do you ever smoke before you train?
Me?
Yeah.
Fuck no, fellas. I could talk about this all day. I won't, but just real quick. So first of all, I'm an edibles guy because I have vaginas instead of a throat. And I'll just cough for like, I'm like, you know, I've been doing edibles for like, you know, a few years now, and you would think I'd never done weed before if you gave me a joint, because I'd be like, you're like, well, pussy lungs. Fuck that. Yep. My lungs are special to me. I also do jujitsu, which is like a bit of an endurance component to it. So fuck smoking. I can't do it. I tons of jujitsu guys smoke, by the way. It's not even that big of a deal. But like, so I do edibles. But like, if I'm on edibles, man, lifting is like the last thing on my mind. I want to like just like people watch, or like talk to my wife and my friends, or like play with my dog.
Have you tried it though? Have you tried it?
No, yeah, by accident.
Okay.
It was
I get a better
terrible.
pump. My pump's
Jason
amazing.
swears
No
by
way.
it. It's hit or miss for me.
I can get in my flow state like no other. And
damn, dude.
Pain feels more warm than pain, so it helps me go beyond thresholds.
Yo, where do you get your weed at, motherfucker?
And his GH.
My guy's in
GH
Michigan.
connection, those shoulders. Jesus Christ.
For sure. He's like, well, like, it's mostly weed, but there's a couple Percocets crumpled into there. It's no big deal. So yeah.
No, I love
Robo, did I answer your systemic fatigue question at all?
No, you did. Absolutely. Those are great ideas as far as watching the markers, what to do, how to recover from it.
For sure.
So,
one quick thing. Sorry, real quick. Can I say one?
Yeah,
one
yeah,
super
yeah.
quick thing?
Go for it.
Systemic fatigue specifically doesn't have a constraint of modality. Every way in which you get fatigued in life enters into that equation. So if you go through a divorce, your training will suffer. If you aren't getting sleep, your training will suffer. If you're arguing with people, your training will suffer. And it's financial stress. Any kind of stress factors into that equation. So another thing to do if you really want muscle gains is to try to become as relaxed as possible, as stress-free as possible. And you know what's interesting is I've had the opportunity to be around quite a few bodybuilding champions. A lot of the guys that are the best at bodybuilding obviously have the great physical genetics. Like you look at Sean Clarita and you're like, Jesus Christ, how the fuck is this possible? But also a lot of them, you would think they're like these perfectionist Elon Musk motherfuckers that are always like type A. They're like so fucking relaxed most of the time. They're just like Nick Walker's. Like you could probably punch Nick Walker in the face. He'd be like, what's up, man? And you're like, what the fuck? It's just chill. And that ability to be chill all the time means less systemic fatigue, less cortisol, less catabolism, more recovery, and then just fucking go in there and hammer the weights. So that's a big thing a lot of people miss, because like a lot of like, I was just frankly saying like hardcore like white dudes like us, to us bodybuilding's like, yeah man, fucking gotta get it, brother, everyone's a fucking pussy, you gotta fucking prove the haters wrong. And it's like, that's dope when you're in the gym, but out of the gym you gotta flip that weed switch and just get to hippie mode, because if you're like fucking hardcore grinding mentality all the time, it's gonna burn you out, and then you're not gonna be fucking good.
Yeah, I've had those issues. Shit, what was I was going to ask a question there. I had something that I wanted to go. Jeff, go ahead and ask yours, and I'll.
All that fucking pot ruined you. I ruined you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So first off, I have to say, it is a great thing that we live in a time that the trend twins actually exist. Like, I did not know this was
finally.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's these guys like, look at my fucking chest. It's like a fucking superhero. Like, I like fucking swollen. I don't know what the fuck to do. And dude, your critique was hilarious, but I was just speaking more to like, wow, we're at the day and age where people flaunt high dose trend on TikTok and Instagram and make money at it. All right, we are here. But my question goes to, what made you decide to start doing these celebrity critiquing of the workouts? Like Mark Wahlberg's trainer was victimized by you. I mean, that was that was sad. I probably would have had a legal liable defamation lawsuit. I mean, have you
I'm
been
still waiting
sued
for
yet?
the paperwork on that.
Have you gotten any yet?
It just wouldn't know, but it would not surprise me if that shit was in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, yeah, so like how did we start the celebrity shit? So we're thinking about, like, you know, interesting stuff to do on YouTube. People ask for a while, like, oh, critique this workout, that workout. We just like wanted to provide good information to people. We don't want to make enemies. I'm not a confrontational person. Like, I'm Russian, so like if I have to be confrontational, it's great. But it's not, I don't want bad blood. I don't want to spread it. And like, you know, I'm not Greg Doucette, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, look at the Trend Twins, they're doing everything wrong. Like, that was how we do. But we did a video where we reviewed like some Instagram, like famous TikTok people working out. And it got a lot of traction. And I was like, oh, God damn it. All right, here we go. And then we tried a few more and they're just like blew up. Like, people love the shit. And so we're thinking like, okay, if we're going to keep doing these, how do we do them in a way that we're not just shit talking people, but we're actually providing some value? And so I realized, like, okay, who can we make fun of? They're not like real people. We're like, oh, celebrities. Like if Gal Gadot, or apparently it's Gal Gadot. You guys are supposed to say the T. Bitch, you fine as hell, girl. I'll say whatever the fuck you want. You feel me? But, you know, like if she's like, oh, like, how dare you say these mean things about me? I'd be like, okay, so like, when you were upset, did you like blow your nose with $100 bills or whatever? Like, when you get rich and famous enough, like, criticism, first of all, there's a sea of it. Second of all, they'll never hear me say it. And third of all, it's never meant in bad blood. It's also almost never about the celebrities. It's their trainers. And here's the fucking real thing. If you are getting paid a fucking obscene amount of money and have infinity clients forever because you train celebrities, and you essentially like are illiterate when it comes to training, fuck you. That's your problem. I'm going to criticize you in a truthful way. We got more videos coming out. We've recorded a bunch. One recent one we did is about, who the fuck was it? Chris Pratt. You guys know who Chris Pratt is, Guardians of the Galaxy and shit like that. His trainer is the fucking man. He just like basically made zero mistakes. And the entire video, I don't even know if it's going to bang, because like, I'm just like, wow, this guy's the fucking man. So we're so brutally fucking honest. If you fucking blow dicks as a trainer, we'll be like, dude, here's why this is wrong. And of course we'll poke some fun. Now, if I ever see any of these people in real life, first of all, it'd be real fun because I do have a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, so I don't really ever feel unsafe anymore. But yeah, I'll be talking that shit. But also, like, I don't mean it as like, oh, these guys are fucking idiots or retards. Like, if you're doing retarded shit, currently you are retarded. If you do smart shit later, look, like, I used to train people like fucking moron. Yeah. I've made every mistake there is, every single fucking one. And so when I make fun of these guys, it's like, it's not the human being inside we're making fun of, it's the practice. And so if you're fucking up with Hollywood trainers, and so many people watch these workouts, they're learning from you. What the fuck are you doing? No, don't fucking do this fucking weird crawl on the ground like a fucking weird spider with a ball on your back. People watch that shit and they're like, oh, that's how Mark Wahlberg got his abs. No, God damn it. You're basically lying to people. Yeah, we are going to fucking call you out and we're going to have fun with it and it's going to be great. But I also try to thread in that science and trying to teach people, like, here's why this is wrong. Not just like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Next. It's like, here's a better thing you can do. And we're always honest. We don't know. I never pre-screen any of these workouts. So when you guys see me reacting to workouts on YouTube, it's my first time ever seeing any of that video. And so it's just like my first take, brutally honest. And when it's good, it's good. And we never like, we're like, oh, that workout was too many compliments. Like, we can't, it won't fuck on YouTube. It won't bang. We gotta not post it. We post all the shit. And so that's how we got to the whole exercise critique for celebrities, is because we did a few of them. People really loved them. And we thought, okay, how can we do this and still maintain some integrity and give people some value? Well, also clearly it's like half a comedy act or whatever. And that's not even me. Like, I'm not that funny. It's just like the fucking workouts are the funny. The shit writes itself. I mean, holy fuck. Like the Michael B. Jordan one where he's like trying to act gangster at fucking St. Bart's. I'm like, motherfucker, are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? You're in the fucking Caribbean. I guess being a gangster is in here, fellas. You know what I'm saying? It's in the heart.
It is. It's so hard. I kind of remember what my question was. So I was, probably retired, but you never quite know.
You're coming back, Jay. You're coming back.
We'll see. I recently
put on IU GH there.
Put on 17 pounds, and I've been, putting a lot more effort back into the gym. I can't take a lot of PEDs anymore. Like, I get heartburn, I get prostate issues, I get anxiety. It's fucking nuts. So I like 200 mgs a test. 3 or 4 I use a GH, 3 or 4 I use a Slim. That's my stack. And I'll be damned after I started a program where I was doing legs twice a week, training 4 times a week, 3 sets, 2 working per exercise, 1 acclimation. I had a deload after the 5th week, and I've never had to do that in my life. I don't know if it's age. I don't know if it's coming back. But man, it kind of hurt my ego. So I'm getting ready to fire back up the last 4 weeks. You think it's age? You think it's just not having as much, rocket fuels I'm used to? Or
how old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
I'm 45.
It's age for sure.
Yeah.
And it's also the fact that you're not using a boatload of gear.
Yeah.
I ran into this in my last prep where at least in the short term, and probably to some small extent, the long-term literature does confirm this, gear makes me dumber.
Yeah.
And my brain's probably making me a whole lot more money than my body ever will. And also I enjoy being smart much more than I enjoy being jacked. And so I took less gear last year, especially in contest prep, and the results were unimpressive. And also I'm better and better every year at dealing with gear, the anxiety that taking a lot of gear causes. But at some point I was just tired of fucking having to deal with it.
Yep.
And so I took less gear.
Yep.
And I'm 39. Last year or a year ago, probably last year, is the first time I can say unequivocally I started feeling my age. I ran into the same thing you were talking about. I used to do 4-to-1 paradigm. It was 4 weeks up and 1 week deload. I had to do mostly 3-to-1s this whole past year.
Oh, wow.
I cannot survive. Now I started training a little bit harder in every single set, doing a little bit more volume, but in order to survive a longer paradigm, I would have to take more gear, but I was just kind of fucking done with that. I'm trying to finish out my last few years of bodybuilding here. And my cutoff to myself is age 42. I'm not going to go beyond 42. I'm just going to retire. And it's kind of okay, it's time to do shit. So I'm on more gear now. And the anxiety issue I had a big problem with, but I started taking CBD recently because I told myself I'm not going to mess with pharmacological anxiolytics because fuck that. I don't need to be on a fucking psychiatric compound. That's just the kind of you see a bug on your windshield and you take a fucking Thor's hammer and you smash it and your whole car breaks. Nah. But so the CBD seems to be helping maybe. And when I have a more testosterone in the cycle and I have more estrogen for that reason, the estrogen really helps me mellow out and feel emotions and shit. I was on 0 estrogen compounds for 5 weeks before my last show. Yo, fellas, the only emotion I could feel was fucking not even rage, anxiety and hatred. And it was I would see something objectively beautiful and I was I can't feel beauty. I am unable to perceive beauty anymore. I was fuck that. So now my body responding super well. My anxiety is actually way better than ever. So maybe the CBD has a lot to do with that. I do a lot of meditation and inner work, but it's what I'm trying to say is all this shit you just said makes total fucking sense. 45, man. It's a thing. Good news. There are tons of drugs in the pipeline right now, which are not anabolic, not androgenic, and they burn fat and they build muscle. And so maybe if you hang in a few more years, or you can come back out of retirement again when you're 50 and a
I'm not
cyborg.
I'm not going anywhere. So, but it's just man, I don't even know how I would prep and be the same on that amount, it just
totally. It wouldn't be the same.
I'm a white boy. I'm not that gifted. I got so I don't know. I was just asking your feedback on it because I was God damn.
No, it's a thing. And it's so funny too, because what we're saying right now really is pretty politically incorrect, even in our own industry, which is already kind of fucked up. Guys will say it's not about the gear, it's about the work. Shut the fuck up. If I'm on what am I on right now? 1.2 grams total, 1200. Most of that's test, a little bit of that's primo. I can fucking work. And my fatigue, I get some good nights of sleep and my body's reloaded. Let's do it again. When I'm on 300 for a cruise, shit's just not the same. Now, psychologically, I feel 1,000 times better. And I'm fucking kind and courteous and intelligent. But I get in the gym and my joints are doing the Jew thing. They're oh, my elbow has my elbow has a back problem. I'm how the fuck is that even possible? A little Jewish man, and they're oh, my back. So it's it's definitely a thing. And the guys at the Olympia caliber who are 18 U's of Serostim and fucking 3 grams, they're yeah, man, I don't need to deload. No fucking shit, you
Fucking
dumb
shit,
motherfucker.
yeah.
I need to know what a deload is.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
And, backing up off the gear, people say like, oh, you back up off the gear, like you still get great results. Like, absolutely. But they're not going to be as good as if you take more fucking steroids. Plain and simple.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, I would never say my results are terrible by any means. And I'm happy.
Look at your delt, bro. I don't even know if I'm talking to a human being or like a delt that can talk.
Listen, you're
They've always
inflating that
been
fucking
strong
ego
points.
so bad it's killing me over here.
Would you like me to say nice things about you, Jack?
No, I don't like nice things about me because it makes me feel good. I don't like to feel good.
Fucking
So that's the interesting point you bring up, because I set a timeline for myself where I said 45, I'm done. And Jay was still laughing. I was blasting 500 megs of tren in the last few weeks and sleeping like a baby. My aura scores like no nice sweats. Oh, dude. So Alex Kickle says
I'm so jealous because that shit was just making me a mutant.
Yeah, dude. I'm like chill as shit. I'm just tired because it's prep, right? But dude, I sleep better on tren. I have no night sweats. Yeah, dude.
It's fucked up.
It's so fucked up, Jay. I'm
Lucky
like, I'm dropping
asshole.
Oh, dude, it's so good. I could come in peeled and hard every time, guaranteed by the nectar of the gods, tren.
I fucking try to take tren, and the last prep, I took it for 2 weeks, and I was like, nope, because like I was in the shower at one point on tiny fucking, I was on like 150 a week. Yeah. And I was in the shower, and I was like, I don't want to be here. And the here doesn't mean in the shower; it means on Earth. And I was like, okay, no more tren. Tren has the predictable side effect for me psychologically of making me feel like whatever it is I'm doing, I want to be doing something else. Like, like that's real nasty to feel deep down. Yeah. Like I'll be watching a movie and I'm like, oh, I wonder what's after this movie. I get a meal, that's good. Maybe listen to some good music. Yeah, that'll be great. And I'm like, oh my God, I have zero inner peace. It's real tough.
Yeah, I tried doing microdosing 10 milligrams, and I lasted 4 weeks, and I did put some size back on. Size were minimal, but I was still anxious. And Jeff's over here just cranking it, and I'm like, I think it's done, man. Well, I was like, I'm going to stay off in the sunset on my HRT and a little bit of GH and rock it. But he keeps telling me to get back on stage, so we'll see.
I think it's because I dropped my test to 100. Like I dropped the test real damn low, and I can hit it high. I don't know, man, but I mean, the things that bothered people about tren, I'm just in halotestin does nothing to me either. Like I'll just take like 40 milligrams. And I'm like, maybe I'm slightly more angry, but if I go to my childhood,
such a mean asshole always that it's just like, yeah, you're the same.
You hit the top of that cylinder and bounce back down.
I'm already at top cylinder, top speed.
I'm fucking with you.
I want to ask this one, and I'm going to let the guys finish up. If you could give us an extra couple of minutes, but I want to know why in the consumer space, I would want to get your RP app, and like, what does it feature? Who is it for? And most importantly, like, who isn't it for? Like, all businesses have a target consumer they're looking for. Who is it you're looking for to really help? And what are you looking for that change to look like? And does RP evolve to go for beginner and super advanced ninja Goku levels, or does it just kind of stay in this one realm?
Yeah. I mean, we wrote the app for the children of the world because we love children at RP, but in a totally normal way, not like a Pizzagate sort of way. The RP hypertrophy app is for people that know how to train. It is distinctly not for beginners. And it basically is a universal program designer where you put in the muscle groups you want, you put in the exercises you want. And we have suggestions. We have pre-built templates. But if you don't know what you're doing, the template looks like fucking nonsense because you're like, is this good? I don't know. Should I add something? I have no idea. And once you build a workout, it allows you to do the workout, log in your reps, log in your weights, and then next week it pre-programs everything for you. So like if you did 150 bench press for sets of 10 this past week, it's either going to say sets of 11 at 150 next week, or it's going to say 155 for sets of 10. So it sets your overload targets for you. Based on the feedback you give it, it tells you if you need to increase or decrease or keep the same the number of sets you do per week. So it's a coach. It's a coach inside of an app, and it believes you that you're being honest with it and that you're fucking working hard. It doesn't do dick for it. Like if you lie to the app, I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to give you the right fucking advice.
You don't work hard, you ain't getting anywhere.
Fuck no. And if you don't work hard, I've nothing to say anyway. Yeah. So if you're ready to work hard, if you're ready to be honest, and you know some shit about training, you've trained for 6 months, a year, 2 years, you know what a set is, you know what a rep is, you know how to warm up. Now, if you click on the little thing at the beginning of every workout, it reminds you how to warm up. But if you can't make any sense of that, you can watch our warm-up video and it still can't make any sense, you need to go hire a trainer or just get into some beginner programming, do Mark Rippetoe shit 5x5 for a few weeks, few months, and then come back and be like, okay, this shit makes sense. And if you want that, then all the way up to the very elite level, the app is, in my opinion, one of the best possible ways to train because it handles all the variables for you, but it allows you to modify anything you want with feedback. So you go to the gym, your knees hurt doing a certain exercise, you're like, fuck that. You can instantly replace it. And it asks you, do you want to just replace this exercise for now? Or do you want to replace it for the rest of the program? It programs your deload for you. It does all that shit. And it's used by pathetic people who will never amount to anything like myself. I use the app. Like when the creator uses his own product, that's probably pretty fucking good. And I get addicted to using the app. Everyone who fucking uses it is like, they're like, oh fuck, like my phone like died out on me in the middle of training, and I like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like I know what I'm supposed to do, but I want to type in my numbers. I want to see it on the fucking screen. You hit these little green check marks when you finish your reps and your weights, and it just feels so good. So I use the shit, and I'm nobody, all the way up to Nick Walker. And Nick Walker uses the app, and it's not like one of these things where RP pays him like $1 million a month, but tell people use the app, but like he really doesn't. He fucking actually uses it, and he actually likes it. And at one point, I'm sure it's fine to share the story, but like he had some kind of glitch in his phone. We had an app update, and he had to reload it, and he didn't know what to do. It's like half the time I don't know what the fuck to do if some shit happens and goes down. We have an awesome engineering team that updates things all the time, but it was one of these little things, and he hits up Jared Feather, who's like helping him with the training, set him up in the app, and he's like, Jared, the app won't load. What the fuck am I supposed to do today? He was like in a panic because it was like, I train with the fucking app now. It tells me what to do. It's collaborative. It's not just, it tells me and I do it. I know what it's telling me because I programmed the beginning. It's like one of these things where you're like, it's like Google Maps. You type in, I want to go to Buffalo, New York. I don't know what the fuck you'd ever do that. The fuck's in Buffalo, but you type it in. And then it tells you where to turn and when to stop and when to hit your indicator to go this way and that way in the freeway because it believes that you're serious about going to Buffalo. And it even tells you how much time it's going to take to get there. The app is much the same way you build the initial plan, and it can help you build it as much as you want, but it trusts that you really believe that you think you're going to make it. And so if the app's like programs 4 sets of leg press, you're like, fuck, 4 sets? It's because you told it things about how your legs healed from last time that the app calculated that like, yes, you could go to 4 sets instead of 3 because you're recovering easy from 3 and you want to grow. So you got to do enough volume to earn that fucking recovery. It's one of those things where it fucking really works. It holds you to your own. It's an awesome guide. And then after you train with it for a while, usually a lot of people like it and they don't want to train without it anymore. And all the way up to Olympia contenders train with it. So it can accommodate everyone from you've been training for 6 months, you know what sets, reps, and weights are. You know how to push yourself. You know what reps and reserve are. Like stop 2 reps shy of failure. If you don't understand what that means, you are not in our target demographic. If you understand what that means, the app's going to be fucking baller. It's like basically if you buy the year, it's like less than $1 a day. You get a fucking coach in your pocket. It just takes all the worrying and concern that you're being meticulous completely out. So all you got to do is just say, okay, 405 on a leg press for 16 reps. Because last week I did 395 for 16 reps also for 15. You don't even have to look back at what you did last week. This week it auto programs. You got to look at the fucking thing. You got to use good technique and fucking grind. So the app to me is great because I don't have to fucking calculate anything in the gym. Like, oh, should I add a set? Nope. The app tells me everything to do and then I fucking just do it. So if you're like, I'm not into science and intellectual shit, sweet. Just type it into the app and it'll tell you what to do. And your job is just one thing, fucking grind. That's it.
Are deloads then based on your feedback, or is it just 4 and 1, 5 and 1, 6 and 1, or
you pick which paradigm you want to use?
Okay.
You pick. We have a 3 to 1, 4 to 1, and 5 to 1.
Got it.
And you pick. And if you want to skip the deload and just fucking start the next week in your next plan, there's like 2 buttons you press and it just fucking goes. It's not like, well, you have to do deload week. We just say skip entire week and it goes skip. What do you want to do now? In your plan that you just built, you can load it up again and say, use this as my next plan, change a few things, go, and you're ready to go that next week. We're working on features. They're already, the code logic is all set. We just have to implement it into the app where it'll flag if you're underperforming and recommend recovery sessions, recovery half weeks, and deloads. It'll be like, dude, you're fucked up. What are you doing? That's coming. That's already a solved problem. And then it'll ping you a little bit more and be annoying, but I'm sure we'll get to a point where you could just turn that feature off. Like, I want to be weak. Shut up, app. And every now and again, we built this feature into the app where most of the time it works really well, but sometimes like for 2 seconds at a time, it just like flashes a picture of my cock. Because I think that's why people really want the app.
I can't
Very
wait to
anime.
Just yeah. So I have a question follow up, and then Robo, and then Jason, you lead us out today. Do you have a licensing for coaches to be able to use your app with their clients?
secret development project. We actually have an app development center that's currently orbiting in one of the rings of Neptune. It's really far from Earth because there's a lot of nuclear shit that happens that if it blows up, it's going to take out a planet or two. We're in that center working on getting the app to be a coaching portal. It's one of these things, like, technology is so fucking amazing and so seamless that on the user end, we're like, it should be so easy to make something like this. But it turns out permissioning and syncing, like, if my coach changes something, how fast does it change on my app? What if I didn't have reception on my app and now my coach changed something, but I changed something too? Which one of those things is the real thing? This is an interesting problem. It's a tractable problem. It's not like mysterious, but it requires some heavy hitting engineering. And so we've got a few things to clean up before we start the work on that. Hopefully in an XYZ number of months, that'll be a thing. And when it's a thing, don't worry, I'll be on every fucking podcast talking about how it's great. Talk about if your coach doesn't use it with you, he's a fucking idiot and you should kill him, kill yourself.
No, I actually like the idea. I was thinking about it for myself because I have some beginners that they don't know how to do dumbbell press correctly, but I got someone like Robo who I work with who he could probably benefit from that app and my oversight of the app to kind of be able to program nutrition and other things. And that's a pretty cool development overall. I think it's very useful for a coach, especially the intermediate, advanced, and elite advanced people.
Dope. Thank you so much. Hopefully we're going to make it work and people will like it.
I hope so. Robo and then Jay.
Yep. Super curious when you've talked about your different methods of working and going after some of the projects. So writing the book, developing the app, you seem to work more in almost a batch mode. You lock yourself in a dark room, just fight your way through it rather than, set aside an hour each day to work on a special project. I'd love to hear more about your methods of reaching your goals, how you push to kind of reach each stage in your development in your career.
Excellent question, Robo. Thank you so much. So you really do have the best questions out of everyone here on the podcast. And, like, I don't know if they can hear us, but these other two guys are fucking idiots, and it's obvious.
I mean, we can chat at night, late at night before you go to bed.
I'll send a lot of.
I blame it on the LSD, peyote, the fucking DHT, and everything else I've ever smoked in my life.
Yeah, I don't understand.
No, I swear to God, I wrote about it in my book. I talk about the book that I kind of hold up, but I time chunked writing my book. Hit 104,000 words, trimmed it down to 66,000. It's the darkest thing you'll ever read, but I talk very openly about my use of psychedelics to help me after a suicide attempt. And then depressants didn't work. And then the common answer is, well, just take another antidepressant. Oh, well, now you need the balancer to the 2, and then you need this. And then before you know, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm on 4 things. I still hate my life. And I hate myself when I look in the mirror.
And you're like, fuck it, I'll just take 500 Tren and everything.
Yeah, 500 Tren fixed me. I personally, my girlfriend will admit that Tren, I'm better on Tren than she's ever would have thought a man would have been. I was like, yes, sir.
Unlocked.
Fuck yeah. I'll talk to you guys about it in another podcast, Mike, because this has been one of the best ones I've ever had. I've had a lot of fun today. So
fuck. Okay, so the work stuff really quick. I think there's some people work really well with breaking up tasks. And if that's you, that's fucking sweet. Other people tend to get into a flow state after just a little while. And it's this concept. There's a book of the same title called Deep Work, where you get into some work and then you sit there for a while and you really start to wrangle with the heavy problems. And you get on the streaks where you're like, I'm in the fucking problem space and it makes sense. It's kind of like, do you go in and do 3 sets of curls in 10 minutes and then leave the gym and come back later and do 3 more sets of curls? Or like after 3 sets of curls, you got to pump, your joints feel good, you're vibing, and you're like, fuck yeah, more. So with me, work works more like the deep work thing, where if I can get 3 to 5 hours of sitting in a quiet space and working, I open up over that time and just quality shit just pours out of me. And fellas, real talk, I fucking piss in my chair. I shit myself. I don't give a fuck. Whatever it takes to get that work done. I'm kidding about that last part.
It's harder just to wear a diaper, and then you can just change it real quick and stay and keep working.
I want the chair to smell like shit for later, bro. Like, it keeps me real and grounded. Also, nobody sneaks into my office, right? Exactly.
It doesn't let you feel like a millionaire.
100%. I want to be a millionaire, but I don't want to feel like a piece of shit. But in any case, like that deep work thing, it works out really well. And I think, like, not to make a comparison at all, because I'm a 10th of this guy's worst day, Elon Musk is a big fan of that. He's like, if you have a question that you need me for 2 minutes, never fucking interrupt me with that shit. Like, sum up enough questions to where you need me for a longer time. We'll sit down and crush them out. Little meeting. He also has a policy where, like, if you're at a meeting apparently and your question is answered, you don't need to be there anymore. You just get up and leave, so that everyone can go back, groove into their deep engineering work, and really create some beautiful shit. A lot of, I think, artists also work like that.
Yes,
Like,
they do.
great paintings are rarely made with a guy like every 5 minutes he's like fucking and he fucks off, and a lot of it's just like hours spent in front of that work and just fucking getting in the lines, all whatever. Art doesn't make any fucking sense to me. One of the things I want to do in a little bit is, like, there's those, like, you can take like a wine and art class where, like, adults just come in and drink wine and make art. Your boy is going to be on like 40 mgs of THC trying that shit. They're gonna be like, oh, Mike, you've done so well. And it's just like a white canvas. And I'm like, oh my God. So in any case, yeah, that's kind of, Robo, does that answer anything, or was that just a rant to nowhere?
No, that does. I mean, I have that book sitting on the shelf, I think, behind me.
There you go.
And yeah, flow state is everything. So.
It's huge. And it's just, I have to say, it's not for everyone. Some people work well doing this fucking kind of here and there kind of shit. Like, if you're in charge of like logistics at a big company, like, you have to be one of those people that can spread themselves thin, because they deep work. Like, no, you have to talk to everyone all the time. You don't get to do that shit. But for me, deep work is, I both love it the most. Like, the most fun I'll ever have is sitting in my office doing deep work, more than anything at all. And that deep flow state is like the fucking shit. So
very cool.
I was in that a lot for writing my book. I'd smoke a joint, drink a coffee. Within 3 minutes, I was banging out. I did 3 to 4 hour blocks though. Robo and Jason
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Just smoke and go.
It's always drugs with you, Jeff. You're like, yeah, here's how I get my flow state. I take 5 grams of acid, but then when the trip hits, I take mushrooms, and then I pull myself out with a fucking ecstasy tab. Then I'll have a black coffee, and I'll have heroin to bring me out, and I'll, like, that's my best work state. I'm like,
he does his best work in a K-hole, I think. That's where he really
It's like not moving. Nobody's typing at anything.
He comes out and he's like, all right, time
I did it.
Yep. He typed out a 5,000 burst of shit. No, it's microdosing LSD is the hack that I like.
Is it really?
Then, yeah, no, it's a great one. You should read a book called
I've done it many times with him. It's a good, I like the mushrooms better, little psilocybin microdose, but they're both solid.
Yeah.
I love it. So, I only megadose mushrooms.
Oh, the megadose mushrooms.
That's the better
first time
way.
I did was 4 grams, hero dose, just
hell yeah,
gone. I was like,
hell yeah,
another place.
Hell yeah. I've done 7.5 grams and walked around on Stanford University's campus. It was a confusing time. But I never, so if you're like, hey, do you ever take mushrooms to like get better at work? I'd be like, work? What the fuck? Like, dude, no ideas make sense anymore. I tried to draw a picture on mushrooms and I drew like the worst picture in the world. It's
LSD microdosed it's like an Adderall. You can definitely get right into something.
I swear, dude, it's good. 10 mix of that goes pretty far.
All right. I guess it's up to me to bring this on home. I have 2 questions I have to ask. One is, what is the biggest mistake that you see people make in hypertrophy, trying to add muscle?
Bad technique. I mean, like, I don't know if it's the biggest mistake. There's a lot of other big ones, but bad technique is so central. It's so much the core.
Yep.
Because it's like, it's almost like, this is going to be a real brutal analogy. I don't really mean this a ton, but like, oh, fuck it. I'll take this another way. It's like, wondering why you can't please the woman that you're with. Woman of the night for you single fellas.
I would never know that experience.
Neither would I. This is all theoretical. But like, if you don't know how to eat pussy properly, you're like, is it that the candles I'm lighting are too much? Is it the music that's wrong?
Right,
and like, if a woman's honest, like, motherfucker, go move your tongue up and down to side and just do that. Just shut the fuck up and do that. That's the core problem. There's no way to fix it. It's like, oh, I got to grab her ass when I do it. It's the position. Like, nope, just eat that pussy right. It doesn't even fucking matter what else happens, bro. Like, that's core. There's nothing that can replace it. There's nothing you can layer on top of it. There's no making it better. You know what I mean? Like, the one Sex and the City episode I've ever seen, one of the ladies, like, she was with a man and she was trying to be monogamous and it wasn't working and they were having some problems, and he made her go to therapy and she didn't want to, and it's like it's her and the guy and the therapist, and he's like, what is it? Am I being too distant? Am I too emotional? And at some point she just blurts out, she's like, you have a fucking small dick. And he was like, and the therapist was like, okie doke, so that's our session for the day. That was like, there's intractable problems. So technique is that. Because if you can make up for shitty technique with more volume, but that just grinds your joints to a pulp and it gets systemic fatigue gets going crazy. Mind muscle connection. Like it pains me to death when bodybuilders will be like, yeah, man, like they'll have like huge delts, huge biceps, like small pecs. Like I can't fucking connect with my chest. And then you'll see them do dumbbells and they're like, like Branch Warren shit. No offense to Branch, you know, what he did worked quite well from him. But it's like if you fix your technique, your volume can get cut in half. Your effort is now targeted exactly at the muscle and your joints love you. So if you have bad technique and you're asking me about volume, progressions, frequency, I ain't got none for you. Like I can answer those questions, but what I really want to do is teach you how to eat that fucking pussy. And by that, I mean, do the dumbbell press properly. Same thing. Am I right? People ask me what I'm training for. Eating pussy.
Love it. And so Jeff, that has to be our sound bite that Caleb puts together.
Yeah.
Oh god damn it. Here, I told you we were gonna get canceled.
Yeah, it's fine. We don't give a shit.
All right.
We'll start over.
So this is more of a deeper one. I have to ask because this plagues me like no other. And I've been in business doing fitness shit for 15 years and my revenue has done nothing but this, but god damn it. I worry that at any point in time, this shit can go away and I, can stop making money and it all goes to shit. Do you ever worry about that? Or are you just this calm, chill dude and you just think you don't worry about it?
Dude, I'm fucking genetically 3/4 Jewish. The fuck do you think I do other than worry about my money? What are you, nuts? You fucking crazy? It's like asking a black dude if he's had a fucking rap album. Yeah, absolutely. I'm recording one right now. Every now and again, I like to ask, like, you like black dudes are cool. You talk to them anywhere. You just like start talking at the airport to a black dude. Be like, you ever play sports? They take offense to even the question. Of course, what the fuck are you saying? Of course I fucking play sports. I was all-star at a fucking middle school. Son of a bitch. But yeah, 100%. Every fucking waking hour I worry about it. But I've transitioned that worrying and is a realization that worrying is a fucking really stupid thing because worrying doesn't accomplish anything and it drives you nuts. So it's like, it's got like 0 for 2. The way I do the logic around this is the following. I save and invest as much of my income as humanly possible while maintaining a quality of life that is still like, if I die tomorrow, I'd be like, I had a good time. So save and invest, save and invest, save and invest. And my investment strategy is very profoundly simple. I invest in real estate and I invest in index funds because I'm not trying to pick stocks. I don't fucking know enough about that to know what to pick. But like if the Dow and the S&P go up, your boy's getting some money. And so as long as the getting is good, I'm trying to fucking work hard, sustainably, but hard as fuck, invest. And then if all of a sudden fitness just doesn't exist as an industry, then like I'll have enough money to at least be quite comfortable, or worst case, I'll have some good money to buttress my income, and then I'll just get another job. I'll go work at Chipotle and fucking wrap burritos. I don't give a fuck. And so for me, it's like if you're worried about the future, it's the story of like the grasshopper and the ant. The grasshopper just had fun all summer, and the ant just piled away food for the winter, and then the grasshopper's freezing to death. And the ant's like, "Come on in, let me give you some shit." Be the ant. Like save up, and more than saving. What is it? There's a great Futurama quote of what the kid's like, "Daddy, what's saving?" And he's like, "It's what poor people do when they don't know what investing is." But save up, invest, look to the future, and then you'll be able to put away so much that like if you just never work again, you might have enough money to sustain yourself and your family. And then goddamn, like that, you fucking unlock the fucking matrix for that. So that's how I do that. And another realization there is one I think you're aware of. There is no guarantee for anything. So if you want guarantees, you might as well just fucking hang it up. There is no guarantee. There's no guarantee you're going to be able to work tomorrow. There's no guarantee industry will exist tomorrow. So like they could have a pill that comes out in a year that gives you whatever kind of body you want. And all of us are fucking out of work. But first of all, wouldn't that be fucking amazing? I'll take that. I'll fucking pay $1 million for that fucking pill. But also, then you move on and you do other things. As long as you have a brain and you're useful, you can make some money. I mean, and also just the investing stuff means all the work you're doing now, you're pushing forward to make sure that you're never insanely uncomfortable. One of the things that, like, God, this makes my Judaism really fucking like, oh, I just like a panic attack. When like athletes or celebrities spend all the money that they make while they get it, I'm just like, oh my God. Like there's
too.
like one girl on OnlyFans makes like 15 million a year or some shit like that. And she's like hood as fuck. So you know she's pissing that all away. I just want to like reach out with my Jew hands and just choke her for a little bit. Bitch, you better get you a fucking Roth IRA. Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, you know what I'm saying? Something, bitch, something, get you something. And at some point, you're not going to have the world's fattest ass, and you know, OnlyFans won't exist because AI robots will be fucking all of us, which I can't wait for. But like, you won't have this money. Like, okay, you make 15 million a year. How about this rule? Ready? If I was this bitch financial advisor, I'd be like, can you somehow scrape together the decency to live only on 5 million a year?
Right.
Just imagine spending 5 million a year, nuts, and then just take 10 million every year and just put it away into the S&P 500. You'll never be poor ever again.
No.
Nope. Spends it all. People go in debt. What's his name? What the fuck is it? World's best boxer, Mayweather has been close to bankruptcy before. He's had to sell his watch collection before because he burned through $1 billion. Fuck that. So that's my fucking rant on that one.
I mean, that's great advice for any of our coaches out there listening. I follow the same thing. I would have told you guys today. I bought my dream house, and then literally I didn't put it on the market. I bought it 8 months ago. Someone put a note in my mailbox. They offered me $200,000 more. I mean, I put 345 down. I made 200K. I'm selling it because like,
fuck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll go get another place and I'll do it again. And so I took 120 of it and put it in a real estate syndicate on some apartments. I do a lot of syndicates, but guys, what Mike just said is it's perfect. You've got to find a way to live with a quality life, but also save. And if you're not doing it yet, you better start. So awesome advice.
I have to say, this is one of the most funnest interviews Jay and I.
Yeah, definitely.
Robo's kind of new to the space. But
Robo hates me. He's like, this guy just talks a lot. I hate him.
No, you're my favorite. I didn't have to listen to Jeff and Jason, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where can everybody find you, follow you? Is there anything you want to say before you depart? Any final wisdom? But you know, the usuals, where everyone can connect with you and buy your stuff so you can make money for wasting the time to come on this podcast with us.
Wow, you really said it all there.
Yeah.
I don't have any words of wisdom. I'm not that wise. I don't know. Just like my wisdom is just like, think about shit. When you feel a certain way about something, like you get a feeling, pause, understand that it's a feeling, and then think. And then usually the decision based on thinking is better than the decision based on feeling. That's probably good advice. And then where can people find me? It's probably YouTube, man. YouTube, Renaissance Periodization, which no one can spell, including me. So just RP Strength on YouTube, you'll find it. And then also just like Mike Israetel, no one can spell it either. Dr. Mike. There's another Dr. Mike that's also a fucking Russian Jew that's better than me at everything. And he's got more YouTube followers, and he's a real doctor. So like, he's the guy that did it all, and I'm just like second in command. So don't do that. Anyway, you know, Mike Israetel Hypertrophy, Mike Strength and stuff. You'll find me on YouTube. Renaissance Periodization YouTube channel. We put out like 5 videos a week, and they're all attempts at comedy / being informative. And we have a ton of videos, a huge backlog. We got the Strength Made Simple, Hypertrophy Made Simple, Muscle Gain Dieting Made Simple. Each one of those is a series, 16 videos, really get you on your way. And if you like that shit, then click on the links and get the fucking app so that I can, hire a new butler every week. I generally I like to hire a butler every week because you never know when you need them. And when you don't have butlers around, you have to do things yourself. And absolutely, I'm too rich to do anything myself. I don't even know how to put my own socks on anymore. I have a butler just to do that. Jason's writing down. He's like,
Jason's like, take it up.
I wrote down RP Strength.
Yeah. Well, my man, thanks for joining us. And I hope you'll take the time to join us again, because this was super fun, but most of all free and funny. And that's just what I figured it would be. So thanks for making it enlightening.
In a few months, if you guys get the opposite of tired of hearing my voice, hit me up. I'd love to come back on.
Sounds good, man. Thanks, dude. Have yourself a great day, and all of us have a good one too.
Bye. All right. See you, everyone.
Peace.